Hi.
We are back. We're back. We're
It's
here
Saturday,
at
yes.
home. It's Saturday morning. Good evening, everyone. I see a bunch of people coming on. Hello, hello. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank
Welcome
you,
back.
thank you, Amalyn. Thank
Welcome
you,
back.
Tasha.
Can't hear you.
Thank
Can't
you,
hear
Juan.
you.
Okay.
All
Woo,
right.
we are back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm,
How's
mm, mm.
everybody doing? We have returned back home again from our journey,
Yes,
our
a
missionary journey.
mission.
I didn't really think of it as a missionary journey when we left, but now that I'm back, it was a
It was
missionary journey.
surreal. I'm like, did we really? Did we really
Yeah,
do
there's a
this?
whole bunch of stuff happening there.
Woo.
There's a whole bunch of stuff going
Y'all
on.
don't even know.
We're back. We are back. We're back. We are adjusting. Okay, as you may tell.
Yes.
And what in the world did you guys do while we were gone?
Yes.
Because it's like what 5 degrees,
Oh
three
my God.
degrees.
It is like we just left the equator.
Yeah,
We were on
literally,
the equator.
literally.
I mean, it was. Mombasa must be the hottest place in the world.
That's one city in
One
Kenya.
city. And now we're back to like the Antarctic.
It's like we went from 80 something degrees to last night it was like 9 or 11 degrees when we
Yes.
got here.
Was it only 80?
Yeah, and it was in the
Ooh,
80s. And
different type of 80.
it was like what was I gonna say? I'm losing it. It was like 11 last night, it's 80s there. And before we left, I was gonna say it was like 50 degrees here
Yes.
before we left.
Exactly.
And so we left and we left you guys in good shape. Left you guys handling everything fine. And we get back and now it's like 5 degrees outside. I don't understand what happened here.
I don't
So
either.
it's been like 3 weeks though. We've been gone a good ways, 3.5 almost. But we're back and had actually a really great experience. A
Yes,
lot
we
of
did.
different things happened. Enjoyed a lot of things. We're treated well in so many different ways. But we have returned, and hopefully everybody is doing okay. I mean, but the combination here of what's going on with temperature and what's going on with COVID, it's like there were some debates and discussions as
Yes.
to
Tasha,
but
yes, Tasha.
there were some serious questions about coming back. Is it the right thing to do, or what's the story? Because it was like, yeah, it was a pretty tough choice getting on that plane and coming back here. So it was literally much safer where we were
Yes.
than it is here. In both cases, we were in South Africa first, and then we were in Kenya, and it was much safer there, COVID wise, than it is here, and incredibly different from the perspective that everybody's gotten of what's taken place over in Africa and how
Right.
terrible it is in Africa. It was just like not that at all. You go there and you're all masked up and you're ready. You got everything all guard.
Sanitizer
Yeah,
and-
you're all just ready to go and protect yourself from everything and anything. And you get there and people are like, what, why? And then you look online and the data just is completely different than the impression that we got. In fact, right after we got there, they straightened some of it out because they had those restrictions on those
On
southern eight
South Africa.
countries,
Yes.
and they took them off after we got here, after we got there, because it really wasn't legit. It wasn't legit at all. And we can talk about that a little bit in terms of explaining what was going on and how all that happened. But for the most part, really, it was very safe. We did still wear masks there,
Yes.
in most cases, and we were probably more mask wearers than anybody that we
anybody.
saw there.
Yeah.
Even though people sometimes had them, they had them, under their neck, they had them in different places, but nowhere near like what we're used to seeing here.
Right.
But
And they were not social distancing either.
no,
I mean, there were
well,
just
you can't
people.
in some places.
Right. There's so many people in Kenya.
Yeah, I mean, in Kenya in particular, the people are just
population.
all over the place. So
Yes.
it's not kind of like social distancing out in public areas just is not a reality. It's not going to happen. But nevertheless, it was it was actually a really great experience that we had there. We were in quite a few events, quite a few services, great atmosphere. We were there for New Year's Eve in a service with about probably close to 3,000 people. That tent seats about 3,000 people. And people were everywhere. What about them being vaccinated? Ha
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Good question, Wanda.
Way about a third of what ours is, maybe about between 15 and 30% of the people, depending on where you were vaccinated. It's really an oxymoron
Right.
to think that they have as little protection as you know, I can't say they have minimal health care because there were healthcare systems throughout,
Oh,
hospitals
yes.
throughout. We were in a lot of places, had to be tested a few times, so
Oh
we
my
got to
goodness.
experience the medical facilities.
Right.
Very busy in a lot of cases, but not just from COVID like they were here. You know, it's everything you know, for the most part was pretty safe. Their COVID rates are so much dramatically lower
Yes.
than ours are,
Yeah.
both in South Africa and in Kenya. They're aware of COVID. Obviously, COVID is there, and that's kind of the mystery to me because
Yeah.
you do have COVID in the areas, but at a much lower level. And
Yes.
especially in Kenya, you would think that it would spread like wildfire, literally, because you would think that, I mean, some of the places that we drove through, you would think that if COVID got in those areas, it would just be everywhere in rapid fashion. So it's hard to explain how they have been so safe for
Yes.
so long,
Right.
because it's not just now. I mean, this has been going on for 2 years,
Right.
and but nevertheless, they you know, the rates there are extremely low compared to what we're experiencing here. Meanwhile, we're hearing of all the things that are happening over here,
Yeah.
and you know, our timing was, I'd have to say, by the grace of God in so many different ways, because we left on I think the Wednesday before Christmas. We left, flew out of Atlanta to go to Johannesburg, and the day after we left, they started canceling flights because of COVID.
Exactly.
So by the weekend, they had canceled over 2,000
yes.
flights. And there were absolutely no problems with us in airlines anywhere. Any of the
Exactly.
flights that we took, any of the trips, everything was on time. All the planes were fine going there and back. We got back, and 2 days or 3 days before a winter storm hits here. So,
Right. So no more delays.
yeah, so we made it in and out with absolutely no travel problems whatsoever. So we were really blessed by that. The time window that we were in was great. But the COVID numbers there are just, it's kind of crazy. It's got me really scratching my head.
Yeah.
But so many people, we had heard here, and, you know, going back into early December, that, you know, COVID was basically out of control there. The Omicron had moved into South
Yeah.
Africa.
And that it started in
And
that
started
South
there,
Africa.
and that, you
No.
know, it was spreading, and we have to do everything we need to do to stop it from
Right.
there. And it was totally misrepresented.
It
Totally
was. It really was.
misrepresented.
And it didn't start in South Africa.
It didn't start in South Africa. You know, we were there, and, you know, we had gone in with our, you know, U.S. perceptions of what was what.
Yeah.
But then we started hearing from people. We started watching the news, and then we started looking at data, and there was totally surprised. So COVID, Omicron did not start. Did not originate out of South Africa.
Right.
It wasn't a South African virus. It was detected and actually isolated in South Africa. The scientists there were the first ones to actually identify this new strain.
Right.
But the strain itself came from Europe. It came from
Exactly.
Europe
Exactly.
into South Africa and was identified there. You would think it would have came in just like here and just taken over in weeks. It hasn't. Whether it's the primary strain, I think it may actually be the primary strain, but the numbers, the volumes are just so far less than what you would expect it to be. And so the Omicron was identified by the scientists in South Africa. They were the first ones to identify it. I think we did hear before we left that they were starting to complain that they were being falsely,
Exactly.
you know, falsely
Accused.
basically attacked.
Right.
You know, and all the constraints that went on flights from South Africa.
Right.
Once again, we missed the mark because it was in Europe first.
Right.
And I meant to look it up. But I just woke up. I meant to look it up to verify, but the first case here in the United States actually was on the West Coast, as I recall. And I don't believe it came from South Africa to begin with, because it was already in Europe, and it was blowing up Europe and not recognized there by the time it was detected in South Africa. So the South Africans were warning the rest of the world, hey, there's a new variant, and it seems to have unique features. And because of that, they said, oh, no, we got to put all these blocks. It's all in South Africa. Meantime, you know, it's coming in through Europe, where it really was expanding out very quickly. And so once again, we missed the boat. It's here. We've been gone 3 weeks. They said it would take about 3 weeks to spread, and here we are 3 weeks later, and it is spread throughout the United States. You know, watching the map here is just incredible to see, you know, how blown up things are here in the United States. We're looking at here in New York State, about a 20% on average across the country. Now, across the state, and this has never happened, even in New York State. In New York State, when the virus hit here earlier, it was high in certain areas like New York City, and then maybe a couple of other areas. And the rest of the state counties were very low. When you look at the data right now, almost every county in New York State is up. And it's between, with about exception of about 3 or 5 counties where it's just below, it's between 15 and 25% in every county in New York State, which is why the state average is now about 18%. This is the highest it has ever been. And it's the broadest it's ever been. This thing has saturated the entire state. So it's pretty crazy what's happening this time around with this particular variant. And again, when you look at what's happening here and you look at what's happening in South Africa and in Kenya, there is no comparison.
No.
I wrote something while I was gone, a post that some people got the chance to take a look at it. And we want to talk about Africa. I'm not going to talk about this all day.
Yeah.
But I wrote something that I thought was very, very relevant after looking up the data online for the country of Kenya and looking at the U.S. To compare what the differences were to see how significant it really was. And when you look at the population and you look at the amount of actual cases, the caseloads, man, the comparison is crazy. So in Kenya, there's about 53 million people. 53 million people.
Yes, a lot of people.
In the country of Kenya versus about 325 to 350 million here in the United States. So huge difference, about 7 times difference in the U.S. versus there. So you just look at the state of New York. The state of New York, 20 million people, about half, a little less than half the population of, excuse me, of Kenya. Boy, my head is all clogged up. I can barely talk right now because I can barely breathe. But it's about 20 million people in the state of New York, about 50 million people in the country of Kenya. The caseload per day in Kenya is about 2,000 cases a day of coronavirus, and that's mainly in the 2 major cities, primarily in Nairobi County, which is the biggest. Nairobi City, and there's Nairobi County. Nairobi County is 7 million people. And across, again, the whole country, I want to make sure you get this, the whole country,
yes.
20 million people, caseload is about 2,000 cases per day. New York State, 50 million people in Kenya, 2,000 cases per day. New York State, 20 million people, less than half the people. When we were looking a week or so ago, it was like 85,000 cases a day. It went up to 90,000 cases a day for 20 million people versus 2,000 cases a day for 50 million people. Those numbers are completely out of whack. Now we're down, I saw yesterday, to 47,000 cases a day here in this New York State. But that's still almost 50,000 cases versus 2,000 cases with half the amount of people versus what's in Kenya. I want you to understand, it's totally out of whack. Totally out of whack.
Totally.
The caseloads are totally imbalanced. You would think by now, most of Kenya would be swarmed by this virus.
Right.
And it's just not there. When you drive down the streets again and you see the different things, and there are so many people saturated in different areas, you would swear, just like it's like in India, there's so many people out on the streets, you would swear that one person has it, they all have it.
Yes.
But it just hasn't happened in Africa like that for whatever reason. It's not vaccinations.
Right.
They wear some masks, but they don't wear a whole lot more than they wear. It's hard to say.
And a lot of the people that we were around, they were not vaccinated. They were afraid of the vaccination, and that is baffling to me. They're not, very few are vaccinated, and there's very little Omicron or coronavirus there.
I mean, probably 15 to 20% rates of vaccinations. But most people in general don't believe in them, don't want them, are scared of them.
Exactly.
Don't trust them. So the vast majority of the people are not into vaccines. Of course, we were fully vaccinated going
and
there.
Boosted.
And tested.
And tested.
Oh my gosh, tested.
Right.
Tested before, tested during, and tested after. So we just tested a couple of days ago. We're fine. And so, and I even did a home test at one point just to make sure before we did the final test. So we've been tested a lot. and came through that just fine. So it's a real anomaly as to what's happening here in the United States and Europe. And it is the countries that are supposedly have the best technologies and capabilities right now, which are doing the worst right now
Exactly.
with this virus.
Exactly.
Versus some of these countries that are just wide open are have not experienced anything. It's an amazing and strange thing to see from a scientific standpoint. So you have to go past the scientific and say, what else is there?
Yeah.
And for me, it's the spiritual stands out tremendously.
Yeah, well, a lot of them in Africa, they believe that they're just protected.
They're protected by God.
And by God. And actually, in the beginning of coronavirus, the scientists or the doctors wanted to use Africa as an experiment with the vaccine, and Africa actually refused. They were like, we don't have as much Omicron, we're not as affected by Omicron or Corona as everyone else. So why would you want to use Africa as the testing ground?
Yeah, so it's they've been very anti about the whole concept, the people, the population in general, and still are. They're still very mistrusting of that. So we're back here. We're cold. Everybody's hankering in. We've got a snowstorm coming up in another 24 hours or so. I guess it's the first major one of the year. We saw a little bit of shoveling was taking place here, but I think it's been pretty mild.
Yes.
But the combination of the cold temperatures and everything else is like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yes, and also snowstorms also indicate that there will be flight cancellations.
Yeah.
Well, we missed that too.
Missed that. Came through that. So
yes,
thank God.
It came through.
We are back. So how's everybody doing?
Yes.
Hopefully everybody's doing okay. We've heard a few people have had some ups and downs, at least in our group, and hopefully everybody is recovering well and turning back around. We did have a great time. And will I be needing the quarantine? No, because we just got tested and we're clear. So there's no quarantine requirements right now on us at all. And we're good to go, except that, like I said, my sinuses right now are totally messed up for whatever reason. I think it's because we came back in this house, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
And it's dusty.
And it's dusty. And it was a little chilly until we got the...
Well, we've been in outside air.
Right.
I really think it's because of the house.
Okay.
I was just laying on that pillow, and I think
okay.
I think the dust that is in the house we're not adjusted to anymore.
Maybe. I'm not having the issue.
Well, give it
Thank
time.
God. Don't say that. I have to have sinus issue because you do.
You don't. No, you're fine. She's fine.
But usually both of us.
She's fine. It's just me that
affected.
I can't breathe right now. So this is tougher than I was anticipating.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned at the beginning, by the way, it's like 4 a.m. where we are right now, 4:30. So we're like, trying to open our eyes here,
right?
And get rebalanced back to things. I thought we were going to be okay, and we're going to be okay. But it is what it is. So we're all good. We're all good. Good. Haven't seen the dog yet, but we'll get to him
dog
later.
is still with mom, hanging out with mom, keeping mom company. She loves that dog. She may not give him back one day.
Got plants too, so
she has our plants.
Inherited a lot of stuff while we were gone.
Yes.
So lots of stuff happened in Africa. Lots of stuff. If you have questions, by the way, about Africa, don't hesitate to either send them to us, or give us a call. Be happy to, talk to you about it. But lots of things happened over there. While we were in South Africa, we actually had quite a bit going on as well. Lots of meetings. We ran. Let's start there. We ran
my goodness.
the entire time we were there.
The entire time.
We didn't get a break until about 2 weeks in.
Yes.
One evening. But every day we were up and somebody was taking us somewhere, meeting with this group, a church service here, meet with a prayer group over here. We had stuff going on literally every day.
Every day, from morning until night. We mean the whole day. Every day.
I think we were in South Africa for 10 days, which was supposed to be the rest and break before we went to Kenya, and that didn't happen. We were gone every day doing something, meeting with someone, had some great meetings, preached a few services, met with several people. So I went to a prayer service. One of the prayer places we went is really phenomenal one to describe. It actually was a woman's house. It was a very small house, and
In South Africa.
in South Africa,
South Africa.
and it was actually an annex. She had actually converted the garage into an open space for prayer,
Prayer room.
and
Yes.
so it was set up. We have some pictures somewhere.
I have some,
and
yeah.
it was set up with, I believe, a dirt floor, some plastic chairs, which are very common
Yes.
there, and you know, it was, and that particular day, there was just the woman that lived there, and she spoke to us, and we spoke with her and shared some stories, and she shared her journey into a lifetime commitment of prayer and
Yes.
intercession. And we sat down, we prayed together, had a powerful, powerful prayer. There's about 4 of us in that little space, and you could, I have to say, everywhere we went, and particularly in Kenya, I felt an anointing everywhere that we went and everywhere that we gathered. The anointing was very powerful over there.
It was.
And that prayer really helped set us up for many of the things that were yet to come. We had a powerful prayer service there that day. And again, we met with some people. Everybody has heard. Thank you, Darlene. Hello to you
Hey,
as well.
Darlene.
You know, everybody heard that you know, we were on the news there actually a couple of times. Bishop Desmond Tutu happened to pass away while we were there. I think he was 90 years old. And, you know, while we were there, there was a contact that was made that there was an American bishop that was in the country at the time. And so we got reached out to by the newsroom, Africa was the first one, and these news networks that reached out to us were not even just local news networks; they were satellite news networks, and DSTV covers the entire of Africa, and actually the globe. You can get SABC on you know, anywhere on the right on the right networks. So these were major news networks. They're probably the most watched in South Africa and beyond. And they called and asked for an interview. So we did an interview with them very quickly, one on one day, and then got a call from the second one because apparently they saw us on the first one or heard about us, and they called us. And so we were on live for this news interview that took place, and finally got the clip of one of them. This is the second one from SABC. And so, you know, we had the opportunity to share from our hotel at the time what was going on, or our thoughts and impressions surrounding Bishop Tutu, which was a really great privilege to be able to do. So about a 20-minute interview there. That's available right now. I can hear it actually.
How is will he be remembered in the United States?
I can certainly say he was well known and well regarded in the United States, particularly by the African American community there. It was through him and others that we really began to realize years ago some of the similarities and challenges that we experienced both in the United States and here. I'd have to say at a certain period of time, it wasn't that well known, but through Bishop Tutu's work, along with Nelson Mandela and others that were connected to our leaders in the United States, we found that there were quite a few common causes, quite a few common ises. And
So
I think
that's about a
Bishop
20-minute
Tutu
interview
offered-
that went on there. And so we were very honored to be able to call in to do that last minute. Happened to have my computer with me. So we were able to link up with them. And it is available. It's available on our Facebook page, I believe. And again, there's a YouTube page for that. So we were privileged to be able to make that mark. Had quite a few conversations from people who saw that, and it really opened the gate for us in a lot of ways to be able to communicate with a lot of different people in the country about things that we had going on and where we were headed in terms of Kenya, why we were in South Africa to begin with. Had a great time with our spiritual family there, our adopted family as well, the Malifi family, and we were there for New Year's Eve, was it? New Year's Day. New Year's Day. We were shared with them. And so that was a great time as well that we had with them. That was like the one last little thing that we did that was social before we took off, because that was New Year's Day, and we left New Year's night. So we had to leave from them, head to the airport, in the airport overnight, flew. I think our flight left at 1 a.m. and we got to Kenya at like 5 a.m. or something like that, 6 a.m. From there, we went directly to the church, preached our first church service there.
Yes.
And man, that was that was pretty good as well. We had a good time in our church service there in Kenya. The Lord really blessed us. We had a great team that was with us. You know, a lot of this is chronicled. If you go to the Greater Destiny page, a lot of this is chronicled in terms of all the different things that happened there. But Kenya was full of events, full of services, full of meetings. You know, it was a really interesting experience. We kind of delve in a very heavy way.
Yes.
And, you know, just had a great time. And the worship team, this is from
Oh,
the
my
first
goodness.
Sunday. They were
They
like
were
off the
all
chain,
off the
man.
chain.
They were like,
they were
yeah,
all in.
my man Eric there. Oh my gosh, Eric was tearing it up.
Terry, he's single ladies now.
Yeah, if you
Don't
want to
start
go to
anything.
Africa,
Yeah.
they did a great time.
That's the guy right there.
Eric was going in, man. They had it going on, and
Hey.
everybody sings. What's the song? Who da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Who has the final say? Who has the final say? Jehovah has. Everybody sung. Every church
Everybody.
just about we went to
Sung
that song. And then this young lady down here sang Yahweh, and she was powerful.
Yes.
She
Anointed,
just really
yes.
sung that song.
Let me hear your voices, mighty man of war, mighty man of war. Lion of Judah, Lion of Judah.
Quite a service. Quite a
Yes.
service. That started us off, so we knew we were in the right place. The house was full. Actually, standing room only. They had an outdoor space behind the open church, where people were sitting out and just celebrating, and part of the service as well in the overflow. So the first service just started us off really well, really powerfully, and it just went on from there. We had we had services virtually every day. I don't know when we didn't have service. It was the trip was arranged specifically for us to be able to go meet people in Kenya. And so I didn't get a chance. Sorry, I'm just waking up. I wanted to show you a map to show you where in Kenya we were. We were like all over Kenya. When I say we were all over Kenya, I'll try and get a map up while we're talking. But when I say we were all over Kenya, we were all over Kenya. From the central part of Kenya to western Kenya to eastern Kenya and everything in between. We covered basically most of the locations where people stay in Kenya. I'm trying to get real quick for you, let everybody get a sense as to where we were. So, yeah, all right, let's do it. Let's just show you. We'll do it on the prom too here. This is Kenya. And you can see, first of all, we were in South Africa, the bottom, the very southern part of the state. You can see Kenya falls right on the equator. And that's exactly when I say we were on the equator.
Yes.
Yeah, when we say we're on the equator, we were on the equator.
Yeah.
So Kenya is, the majority of the population is in this region here. Along the southern part up through the northern part here. I don't think there's much population. As you can see, there's not many roads up in this part. But we started in Nairobi, and we went, I don't remember the first place we went. It's up in this area, something like that. And then we went from there to Kizi, from Kizi to western, Bungoma over here. Now, Bungoma, as you can see, is right on the edge of Uganda.
Yes.
And there's a bridge here that crosses into Uganda. As it turned out, when we met in Bungoma, we were expecting the people from western, and we actually had 10 churches show up from Uganda that came over to be a part of that meeting as well. And then from Bungoma, we came all the way back to Laikipia, which you can't see on this map right now, but it's somewhere here in the north. Laikipia is right around here. Went back through Nairobi on our way all the way. Hello, she's looking at me. See, you're looking at me, right? Came from all the way back to Mombasa, the edge of the world here, Mombasa.
That was in the mountains.
Well, Laikipia was in the mountains.
Laikipia was in the
Up here was in the
mountains.
mountains, and it was actually
We
cold
were
there.
way up in the
Which
mountains.
is funny because, you know, most of Nairobi is around 80 degrees, fairly warm, not kind of cool at night, but not cold. You get up in the mountains up here, and it's a lot colder, especially at night. The temperature drops.
Yes.
Because you're on the equator, the temperature remains the same almost all year, and it's pretty stable. It doesn't get, you would think on the equator it's going to get so hot. It doesn't get so hot. They have about 13 hours of daylight all the time.
All the
So
time,
from
yeah.
12 plus or minus an hour, anytime you shift from our winter to summer, it stays about the same. So the temperatures stay about the same. The weather stays about the same. And it's, you know, around in the mid 80s during the day. In the main part of the country, it's a relatively cool 80s, and then it goes down at night to probably the high 60s. But in the mountains, the temperature drops a lot faster.
Yes.
And so it gets down into probably the 50s and lower, the low 50s, high 40s at night, which is, okay, suddenly you need a coat. And then you get to Mombasa, and it's just hot.
Hot.
The only saving grace is the wind, because you're
Yes.
right on the Indian Ocean there.
Yes.
But it's very, very humid type heat that takes place there. And it's still in the upper 80s. It's not as hot as you would think, but it feels
very
intensely hot.
Yes.
So from Mombasa, we come all the way back, and we ended up going to just north here to Mwingi. And Mwingi is an interesting area. One of the things that my wife loves so much about going to Mwingi is that there's a border you cross into a county here where they do apparently gun running.
Yes.
And so they stopped everybody at this little border.
Stopped
which
us.
You don't notice there's a border there. You just notice you get stopped.
And out of the
And,
van.
everybody gets checked. Everybody is inspected. For the most part, they make them get off of the vehicle.
Yes.
And actually walks. Here's these two lines right here. I think this is where it is, from this county into the other.
Kiambu.
When you cross this line here, they make everybody get out, walk across the county line, and then bring the vehicle, and then get you back in the vehicle. They do a very thorough check, because apparently there's gun runners here.
Yes.
They didn't make us do that.
No.
Either time, going in and out. We went over at nighttime. We came back during the day. They checked our IDs and stuff like that, but they let us pass through. But everybody else, they stopped the vehicle, made them walk across the border, check the vehicle, bring the vehicle across. So they were
night.
gracious to us, and everybody really was gracious to
They
us.
were.
But aside from that, we went back to Nairobi. So Nairobi is the central hub of Kenya, and that's where we spent the majority of our time. But the events, and as you said, the services that we had were just
Yes.
phenomenal. The people came out for all the things that were going on, especially the 2 Sunday services. People came out, and there were just all kind of things that were going on. The Lord bless. We were in all kind of places, all kind of size churches that we went to, preached in those churches, and just really God just had his way. So this is in one of the churches we were at. That was in Kiambu, I believe, in the first location. It is chronicled. If you go to the Greater Destiny page, Greater Destiny Ministries International, or Greater DMI, you'll find chronicled all the different things. Oh, this is our vehicle.
That's the vehicle.
That's our travel vehicle. That's what we
Yes.
toured.
And
the
our
country.
driver.
And our driver, Apostle Peter, Apostle Matthew here as well. Had a great team that went with us, and we drove literally all over the country. He drove us all over the country, and the roads were not always great. I'll just put it that way. He did a lot of shifting on that manual. This is in this is in Laikipia group that we met with. We didn't get pictures like this with everybody. We didn't start it till later on.
Yeah.
But this is the Laikipia group that we met with. And again, we took all our masks off there for the moment, but you can see during the services we did have masks on, and everything was fine. This is at the house outside of Laikipia that one of the pastors owned, and just happened to be playing with the little cow there.
Oh,
My wife touched the cow.
He just had to
very
take that
proud
picture.
of herself. Oh, these are the babies.
The baby goats.
The baby goats. So,
Yeah.
folks, we were sitting in service.
Yes.
Okay, we were sitting in service, and we looked, and all of a sudden somebody brought in these 2 baby goats. And they're sitting there on the ground, and they're tied up. And the only thing I can start thinking about at the time is animal sacrifices
Exactly.
in the Old Testament.
Like,
They're
what?
bringing in these goats. I already preached, moved on. They're bringing in these goats. And I'm like, okay, why are there goats coming into the service? I
Yeah.
really want to know what's
Why?
about to happen.
What is about to happen? What kind of ritual?
Yes,
Darlene,
so-
you guys we were spoiled.
So what's going on with the goats? And so somebody's trying to explain to us in broken English that these goats are first fruits, and that's not helping me. By the way, you see that mic there was my mic. I used that mic exclusively
Yes.
everywhere that we went. We took our own mic. We didn't share mics with anybody. So, they're bringing in first fruits goats, and I'm like, what are we about to do here? So I'm looking around to see if a knife is showing up. If anybody's got a bowl. I'm thinking Old Testament here. I'm like, okay, we're doing animal sacrifices. I don't know if something's got to be off. It wouldn't be the first time that we saw something off in a service in Africa.
Yes.
So, but this is the man who owned the goats, and he was giving them to Greater Destiny. There's your little girl. He was giving them the Greater DMI as a first fruit offering. And the intention is that these goats are going to be raised, and then any proceeds that come from the goats will be given the Greater DMI. So they were given as a first fruit out of his flock, which I thought was amazing and wonderful. And so I share about it. If you listen to this particular stream, I shared about first fruits, and then we prayed over them and blessed them. And the goats lived. Hallelujah. Hey, the goats live on.
No bloodshed.
No bloodshed, no knives, no sacrifices. Thank God for all of
Yes.
that. So lots of other things happening here. This is a service in Bungoma, where I think there are about 30 pastors there. Now, from our understanding, for those who aren't aware, we were initiating Greater Destiny Ministries International in Kenya. This was the launch of Greater DMI in Kenya. And so this is why we were going all through Kenya, meeting people, sharing the message that was going on. And people came to all these different meetings. This is in Western, and it was about 30 pastors that made it, but I understand there's about 200 churches out there that are interested in joining. And 10 of the pastors that came on the left side, you can't see them here, were from Uganda. And so they're going back spreading the word in Uganda. They want to have a Uganda chapter as well. As we're looking at 2 or 3 different regions organizing in Bungoma, in the Western in Bungoma, in that area, and others. So this is in this is the church in, which church is this? This is the church in Kiambu.
Kiambu.
Okay, this is the Kiambu Church.
Church right there.
And so some of the pictures with that group there, they were excited, and several churches joined while there. This is back, I think, a picture of me in Nairobi when we first got there. Actually, that's the day after, the Monday. This is a house that we stayed in.
Yes.
While we're in Western. And it was actually a beautiful, if you go through all these pictures, a beautiful experience that we had there.
Yes.
We got there again in the middle of the night. My wife loved this nighttime traveling. She was very excited of all the places that we went to in the middle of the night. And let me just show you, we come off the main road and we're on this. I should have videotaped it. We're on this. Why are you're not even looking up? She won't even look up. Most of our driving was at night because we were at places during the day. And then, after we're at the place during the day, we drove to the next place, and we were driving, from 6 to 15 hours, these different places. We won't do that again.
No, we will not.
But, you could see that we were, here we are wide awake coming in, being there at night. Let me see if, I think there was one other one. Oh, these are going in reverse now. Those are the ends of it. But we come in, this is when we first got there. We're coming in down these roads and okay, it was like, if you remember the movie Get Out.
You all don't know what I just went
That
through.
was the first thing that came to mind is Get Out.
Oh my God.
As we were driving down these roads, it turns out this was going to the driver Peter's house. So he knew where he was going. But we had no idea where he was taking us to. And so it was quite a journey. We
God
get
was
there,
with us.
People are there waiting for us, and they're
Yes.
greeting us there. This is like 1
Singing.
a.m. this
Yes.
particular time. But people were still there. And of course, they went home after that. Everywhere they go, they feed you. Everywhere they go, it's food, right? And so 3 meals a day of very, very heavy food. I don't know if I showed pictures on this one or not. The house actually was very quaint, very beautiful.
Yes.
Inside and out. This is
Yes.
like farmland. This is out
Yeah.
in the fields. There's some food. So you get heavy, heavy foods. Some of these are they're like either donuts or sometimes they're meat filled. Peanuts here that you would recognize. This is plankton. Eggs. This was more like a
Boiled
breakfast.
eggs,
This is
yeah.
this was breakfast that morning versus that night. Corn that's been grilled.
Roasted, yeah.
So this
African
is
tea.
the foods were not that unusual. They were a lot of meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes, basically. In our case, it was chicken. We didn't do meat, but they have beef, potatoes, and different types of potatoes than what you're used to, but potatoes nonetheless, and rice. Heavy, heavy rice, almost
Heavy
a
rice, yes.
sticky rice that clumps together.
Yeah, that some of you pick it up with your fingers
Yeah,
and you eat
right.
your other food.
Right, and so
Like in the South, they call it sopping.
yeah, you sop most things with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
This is the family, and everybody in Kenya. You think they love taking pictures here?
Oh my God.
Everybody in Kenya. This is grandma here.
Yes.
I snuck a picture of her as she was going past. So she saw me and stopped and turned around and posed.
Yes, take her
Because
picture.
everybody in Kenya, you start with 2 people
Yes.
in the picture.
And then you got a
And
mob.
people just start running
just- to
towards
the
you.
camera, right.
So it's like you get mobbed everywhere for pictures. It was
Yes.
hilarious. You
You have
couldn't
to-
bring out a picture. People would just literally come running.
Yeah,
Literally running.
Literally running.
for the
You're like,
picture.
okay, let's take a picture, you and I and your family. And before you could snap it, you got everybody. I'm
Oh,
like,
my
this was
God.
only supposed to be for.
So this was out in the countryside, really. And one of the amazing things, you can't see it from these pictures, but right next to here are other homes. The homes
his
are
his
all the
land.
families.
All the family.
All the families live together. So grandma's
Yes.
house is down here to the right. His brother's house is
over
over across
there.
here. The whole family owns all these lands and they share house to house to house. It is a beautiful, beautiful concept
Yes.
of family
Yes.
that exists here. This is a broader picture of it. I think you can see one of the houses here, one of the houses back here. They make their own bricks. That's why you see this. Everywhere you'll see these bricks. They make their own bricks, and then they do this together. And they build their houses out of them. But it was an amazing, amazing thing. Here's one. I don't know what this was. I don't think that's a house, but but there are houses like that
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful areas. So there's some things.
That's a
Now,
little
this
shop.
is a workshop that
Yeah,
they
little
built
shop.
here. Her wife works, and I don't think we have in here a picture of the wife, which is why Peter got in
I
trouble.
have some. Yeah, I did take some pictures of his wife.
Peter got in trouble because
Yes.
his wife apparently got on here and saw there was no picture of
of
her. And so
And there's a picture of his mom.
Peter is in mom is up there. He's like, you love mom, more than you love me. So Peter was in trouble for us. He took the hit. So we got to post a picture. We lost track of where we were.
Yeah, I have
But
some.
Peter's got this is, okay, let me catch back up because it's South Africa. So Peter got in trouble. We got Peter in trouble. This is Peter, by the way, right here. That's Peter.
Yes.
Apostle Peter. And, I'll tell you this, people. There are the titles of apostle, bishop, pastor, all exist there, all operate there. We think here in the United States that apostles don't exist. I can tell you from being with them now, their concept of apostles are people who plant churches. And so they have people, and that's what they do. They plant churches throughout. Peter, who we just saw, has 31 churches. Some of them are in Uganda, I believe, as well. But 31 churches that he alone is responsible for and plants. Now, he doesn't specifically oversee them other than helping and supporting them. They put other people, pastors and bishops. There's Peter right there. This, I think, is in Laikipia. We're back to here. This is in Mombasa. And these are 9 children that I baptized. You can't see it, but I'm in shorts there. We were out in the water, and these 9 children were baptized. They came from great distances to be baptized, and others were coming but couldn't get there. So we were out in, this is the Indian Ocean behind me. It is amazingly warm. It was like really, really warm. And so we went out there and we did the baptism on the other side of a boat. We walked out through and waded out in the water. use the boat there as a just a kind of place to hold on to. But it was a great time there. This is the group in Mombasa. We also did a television program while we were there. We did an interview on a digital program there in Mombasa that plays throughout Kenya. I mean, we can go on and on. Time is almost up here already. This is, where are we at here? This is Mwingi. This is Mwingi. This is Pastor Elijah there. We were at their church. And again, I understand, I think it was, what did he say today? 56 churches?
Yes.
That
That's what he
from
said.
this area that joined. We just got a message yesterday. This is just an accumulation here, and I forget which service this was at. Somewhere in here, I missed the Mombasa service. I think it may be still coming. This is the Mombasa service here. So this is the Sunday service in Mombasa. Amazing time that we had there with the people of God. It was powerful.
was.
This is the one, if you saw me trying to post, Facebook kept taking this down. They took it down 4 times. And I think it was because of not wearing masks. So I posted this one. We were wearing masks, regardless, but the people didn't wear masks.
No, you see that. Yeah, right.
So we wore masks when we took it off when we were in front of people. We wore it when we were engaged and directly around people. We did what we had to do, but COVID is nowhere near these places, which is absolutely confusing, actually.
Right, and you can
but,
see how close the people were.
yeah, but nevertheless, that is where things are at. This is the team that traveled with us. I want to share you that. Minus one, Peter, who I had in the next picture, because somehow he was there and he slipped out of the picture. I don't know what happened.
Yes, he
was
went to
there.
wash the van.
No, but he was there. There's a picture where he was right here over William's shoulder. But he was moving, so I couldn't use that picture.
Oh, okay.
And then he disappeared when the picture was actually got taken. But there was 9 of us that traveled. You can see the team that joined us and traveled throughout the country of Kenya with us. Thank God for those that connected up and helped us through all the things that we went through. It was a great experience. The Lord blessed us throughout. Obviously, we have tons of stories.
Yes, and tons of pictures.
Yeah, and it is just the beginning, Darlene, as you were saying, just the beginning of what's happening there. From what we understand, we're anticipating anywhere from 200 to 500 churches because, like I said, one guy had 100 churches himself under him. There's another guy that came with, Apostle Peter had 30. There's another one that had 50. I mean, so when you put all of these, and there were probably pastor-wise, anywhere from 20 to 50 pastors at every event that we had. And many of them had multiple churches. So we don't know the numbers yet. We're still accumulating forms. We've got a lot of work to do on that end to organize there. So let me just put out the little hint here. We could use help from anybody who's available, both on this side and of course on that side as well. We need support to both put all this together, and we'll be looking and talking about financial support from groups that want to help with that as well. We have a lot of plans of things that we're trying to do over there, and would like to be able to help with not only the churches but the communities over there. A lot of needs. This was an assessment
Very
trip.
needy.
And so we found a lot of opportunities we think that we can be of help with throughout the country. We actually don't have pictures on it, but we sat down as well with some very significant dignitaries in the country,
I have
in
some
Nairobi County. I don't know if we're going to post all of them, but in Nairobi County and in the regional commissioner of all the different regions. We met in his office as well, along with a very special man in the gospel who God opened up the door, the father of the apostolic Pentecostal movement in Kenya and East Africa. We were able to have a one-on-one with him, FaceTime. And so we had a really powerful time while we were there. The Lord really opened up a lot of doors. Yes, we will be going back, but there's so much work that has to be done there while we're there. So praying that God is developing the team that's there to be able to handle and manage all the things that are taking place and helping to keep things intact. We have a lot to pray for, but God is really opening up for them some great opportunities. We'll talk another time about really what some of the opportunity really is about, because there are some needs there, both spiritually and naturally. And we want to be a support to them and all the above, and we invite you to join us in that as well. So lots of things happen. We are back. We are going to be in service tomorrow. We're going to try and adjust ourselves to the time. See my eyes blinking. Try and get our act together. But we're looking forward to share our first Sunday service of the year here in the United States. We will be there tomorrow. We invite you to come and join us as we share with you the Word of God and continue on with what's happening here. Right here in the United States, we are in consecration. That consecration has been going on now from the beginning of the month. And Wednesdays and Fridays, we have prayer and fasting. And of course, Sunday service will continue on as well. Midweek Bible study, we're continuing on with midweek insights. And now we're dealing with spiritual maturity. Those I've seen some people that have been on for the past few weeks will be continuing that process this Wednesday as well. So Wednesdays, Sundays, we're back on our regular schedule. Saturdays here as well. I can't say we're back on our regular schedule because we are not back on our regular schedule. We're getting back on our regular. We'll be back on our regular schedule, but nevertheless, we are here and looking forward to connecting up with everybody. So God bless everybody. Have a good evening. We're going to try and go get ourselves reconfigured here for what's coming up next. And we'll see everybody in the morning. Don't forget to join us. You can live stream as well, 11:30, excuse me, tomorrow on our Eastern time. We'll be back in for our service, and then we continue on from there with everything that's going on. So God bless. Happy New Year's for those we're just talking to. Thanks everybody for watching, calling in, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the morning. All right?
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh, Tommy Leo said your family is in Lagos. Hey, hey.
Bye-bye,